Good morning everybody and welcome to the Octane Thermoplastic booth at Reading Brick Show 2026. And we're going to walk you through what we have on the table as well as show you all the up close details. So starting in, I should mention that on the way you can look out for our 5 hidden pikmin that are hidden across the model. We're not going to be too kind, and of course let me know where they are and why. Starting off, we've got the Champions art piece. This is Z0095, and this is one of our first executive pieces that was added to the display in 2026. It's a 3D artwork showcasing all the champions based off their appearances from Breath of the Wild, and contains a little bit of a secret as well, as if we take off the headpiece here, with a little cavity on the inside with a tiny little light dragon here, which is, I suppose, a little nod or a spoiler, some might say, depending on whether you've played Tears of the Kingdom, but you'd never even know it's there. It's a super heavy piece that weighs quite a lot and is based off a 3x5 art pattern as well. Moving alongwards, we have one of our first box mock-ups, which is the box mock-up of the Sonia's Tea Time Adventure, which is designed to connect perfectly with our gazebo. You can see we've got a couple of our official figures here, but including our Sonia on our table and chairs. And it's a super cute little one. We've got the bowls and the teapots with a golden apple as well, and even some wild berries they're picking, which is actually the bush that you see the steward construct holding in that memory cutscene. Of course, this model can also be added to the inside of the gazebo as well, like so. Which makes for a great little combination feature, as this is from another different model, but a little bit of fun as well. A little bit unusual for our LEGO Zelda product, which I'll explain more in a minute. We have the executive collection here, or so I'm calling it. Along the back, we have a couple of our character sculpts, including Link from Skyward Sword, as well as 3 of the Hollow Knight builds. We have the Hive Knight, the Knight, and Grim. These are some of our newer ones, and they all have individual videos that you can check out. But they're all about that sculpture. I'm particularly proud of the roundness on this one's head, as well as the shaping and the nice part usage we have of the rubber Batman capes on the Knight as well. And then for our Hive Knight, we have a great bit of face shaping and actually a fair degree of posability around the torso as well. Not that we'll be demonstrating that at this show, especially with those thin legs as well. Our middle shelf is then dedicated to expansion builds for the official LEGO Zelda sets. So here we have Goma and her Gomalings, as well as, should be a Deku Scrub around here somewhere, although it looks like he's gone for walkies. Here he is. And this is an expansion for the Deku Tree set. So if you want to do Ocarina of Time version and you want to build this, then of course you can. And in fact, they are available for free over on the page in the description. We also have these two, which are expansion builds for the new set, 77993, which is the Ganon Final Battle. We have the organ, and then of course for Ganon here as well in his boss room, and of course you could always take a Link and put him here as well. And they are designed as ways to pose this minifigure, which gets lost inside the official model too. And then just as a joke, we have Link Mech, which is just a reskin of the 2020 Superheroes mech, but it's a little bit of fun, and it's surprisingly a big hit at shows, so we're leaving him for now, despite him not being my favourite thing on the table. Our bottom row goes a little bit more mixed media, as we've gone a little bit all over the place to a recreation of It's a Small World done in the same style as the Micro Haunted House and Mini Disney Castle from 2024. We've got the little flap outs with the full interior on the back as well. And then some of the details recreated, but I'm particularly proud of the angles and the building experiences, and once again instructions are available for this one too. And then a new addition here, we have the Bulbobs as well, which are making great use of the Piranha Plant spot piece around here at the back, as well as the ones from the Mickey and Minnie set, just to create a little bit more detail and really round off that shape. They're a really fun one, but I can't take full credit for this as well. And then we have Olamos floated just as a little Easter egg for one of the ship parts too. 2 more Ganons at the front. This is mostly here just because we're celebrating, of course, Ganon this year with the figure. And then we have the original one from the NES, as well as the one from Echo's Wisdom / Link to the Past as well. So then we move into the real playsets thing. So this has been a project for the last 6 years, where we've been working on what would LEGO Zelda look like as a playset theme. And our goal has always been to see how many different concepts we can get, right down from the small stuff like you've seen, all the way up to the big stuff as well. And we have a nice range of that here, and it's all play focused. So the first thing we have is the big Octo setup. This is one of our original Wave 1 submissions. You can see we've got some nice posability on the Octo, and he's sort of terrorizing the seas. This isn't the complete model, but you can see that the King of Red Lions here, who can of course still turn his head around, can come straight into contact with the warship, who, if I give a little explosion to, is going to launch off his head, and that is going to sink the ship, revealing of course the treasure on the inside. So a nice little tiny feature there, but then comes out our Leviathan, can start sort of smacking around all over the place, but if we give him a direct shot to the eye, his head's going to explode open, and we've got the fairy trapped in there. But that is up to you, because you could always put a treasure chest on the inside as well. Let's reset there. We also have Moderac here on the front. This one was just a silly small build. It was just supposed to be a creature build that you could get in a small set. I did add a pair of wheels to the underside though, which allows him to have this sort of really crazy sort of wild motion, which is just a little bit of fun. And in addition, all of the eyes are sort of easily pop-offable. They're not supposed to pop off like that, but at a show nothing ever works out quite like how you imagine, but as in to simulate you doing damage to him as well. A couple of smaller ones. We're going to leave a mess behind us. We do have another fake box art, this one for our microfighters with the Divine Beasts. This was the Will of Mender one, which you can see we have 4 that you can collect all along the back. And yeah, it's just really cool to have a real box for this, even though it is a fake model. we're moving into the village scene, and I'm actually going to drag you all the way over here to start with the ranch, as this is London Ranch Ocarina of Time. It is fully flexible and can be expanded with the second build if you wanted to have a full loop. Of course, we have working gates to the entrance, and we can sort of do some training on a Pona, as well as our cow, which has been named by visitors at the show, as we've got Mumu the cow, as well as Cecil and Caspian the chicken. Underneath here we have some area for the horses, as well as a golden scutula, which you can fight and collect. A couple of flowers, obviously everything flexes around, but my favourite Easter egg has to be the hidden heart container inside the tower, which is accurate to the game. And sliding that away and removing this, we have a little storage space underneath for the milk and the hay for the cows. And this is the produce, of course, even with that little milk sticker on there as well. Let's lock that back away. And although this is a different set with Rallis from Twilight Princess, this is sort of being used today as a pseudo way of transporting that produce into the village here. But unfortunately, as is the Rallis sequencing game, they're being chased after by the Bulbul, who has a little bit of opposable legs and they can move his head side to side, and then the wagon bursts into fire as well. So they're sort of out of control coming into the village, and I think poor Rallis in there is not very happy at all. Unfortunately though, the village is not any safer for us, as we have Yiga spies sort of hiding in the roofs away, sort of just to appear out of nowhere. And they can cause some bit of damage to the village. They can knock this down. I can spill all the bananas everywhere as well and light this building on fire. And I don't know what Link is going to do in order to sort of save the day here. But he has got a couple of bits helping him, as if I turn these around, we have a general store down here. We've got some eggs and some wheat, as well as a recipe on the wall for the fish pie, as well as a mushroom and some various different bits of milk. And upstairs, we're selling armour for a couple of different prices. And that is being made by the blacksmith who lives in this shop here. You see a great flame blade and a frost blade, and I've even got a little hammer and anvil which I can flick away at as well as one of each weapon class with a bow, a spear, a sword, and a double-handed as well. And right now, Cedra the blacksmith, who is based off the Age of Calamity NPC, is currently in bed doing absolutely nothing, and he's got a diary station across the way if he wants to do anything, although it is a little unfortunate that he lives underneath the fire. Okay, continuing our mess downwards towards the back, we have Link here from Skyward Sword on his loft wing. This is one of my personal favourites, or my favourite game, and it's wonderful to have him here, sort of on his wings that flap from side to side. We've got the neck and so on that can twist, and also posability as well, which is great. And he just sits on this stand here, just being a nice static piece, but I couldn't not have a little bit of Skyward Sword representation here as well. So we've got another little special one here as well, because I did another recreation of a box that one of the sets we've done. This one actually ties down to a model down here, which was really helpful because it meant we could show off a lot of the features, but I'll bring this back in later. But I do have to mention, it is completely surreal to be able to have this and actually be able to sort of see the models that we designed with the fake box as well. Which comes to our castle as well, which has been sort of scaled down to sort of be oversimplified towards the top. It doesn't look too bad, however, it was just sort of done to make it look more like a playset, and you'll notice the sort of attachment points that we have here ready for future expansions. But let's say someone was coming to invade the castle, we can sort of knock them and shoot them down using this feature down here, as well as this ramp is completely removable as well, and I'll draw your attention to these for later. But you've got various details like the flags here, some wall texture, as well as all these vinyl elements which we've designed ourselves, and custom decals for some of the flags as well. Got a couple of characters posed around, including the Guardian, which I'm only going to show off because it has that wonderful spin move, which I'm really pleased to have included here as well. And if we spin it around, you should know by now with me that it is an open back castle. Perhaps you've even seen it before. And we've got all of the details here. So with the Breath of the Wild throne room complete with sort of chandeliers and various different sculptures, more flags and so on, as well as the throne up here with a sort of approximation of the Loftwing statue that sits behind the throne. Down below is the ancient observatory, which of course is sealed off at the moment. And then as we move up the tower, you can see into Ganon's cocoon, but let's go above that for now, where we've got a Korok puzzle here with a target, as well as one of our wands here, a little treasure chest with some gems and stuff inside, and then at the top, sort of a bow and sword, the bell which you can ring for another Korok, and then Zelda's secret diary, which I can just declip here and open up like a book. No secrets in there today. And then a Hylian shield print, which is actually one of my originals from 2019, up at the top. But let's go for the big feature, because that is the exciting part with this one. So we've got Ganon in his cocoon, and I'm going to do this in stages. So to start with, I'm going to let go of that to sort of release the cocoon, and I'm going to press a button on the front, and he is going to drop down flying, and as he does that, I'm going to break away the floor, which is where he crashes through down towards the bottom there. And this is where, of course, you could give him a little unfold if we spread out of his limbs and bring in a Link from the front, and they could have their sort of final duel down here in this space here. Some might argue it's a waste of space, but I haven't seen many castles that include the waterfall base, and there is actually a secondary purpose to this, because having this up on the rocks means that when we attach extra walls for other segments to it, it's going to form a complete castle. Although then I won't be able to spin it around and so on. So we like making a mess here. We're going to move into the bosses now, and this is sort of our Tears of the Kingdom collection with one notable exception. Let's start with the Imprisoned, who last year at this show was a real pain. We have this amazing mechanism which allows me to sort of rock the jaw as well as tilt the head about 90 degrees from basically upwards, so he can steal the princess's soul, right down to a 90 degrees angle here as well. And it was just tearing itself apart. At every show since in the last year, I have decided to make modifications in order to help out and sort of try and get that mechanism working smoothly. However, it just hasn't worked, to the point that this is his ultimatum. If it doesn't work for this show, consistently over the 2 days, he's getting scrapped and going in the bin. Hence why we have a warning sign. It's been 9 days since the last break. I truly think I fixed it this time. It's currently working, so fingers crossed this isn't going to be the end of the road for him. Well, that's a little exaggeration because it's still been my personal collection. As for the rest of the model, he comes in 3 stages. So currently he's in phase 3 with his halo on his head. I can unpin this final element, which was custom made, to take him back to phase 2 with the arms, and then let's see if they're going to be kind to me. We don't usually try doing this at shows. We can take the arms off as well to put him back into his first phase. And I can even sort of angle him down and then sort of have him do a sort of wiggle along the floor as well, although I'm a little scared because, as I said, I'm really watching that mechanism. He can chomp away when you hit the ceiling spike, which is either just a motion or as if you were damaging him as well. Speaking of damaging him, we do have the catapult here, so I can load a little bomb flower into here. We can line it up and sort of launch it at him. Bit of a miss there, but that's okay. And then you've got some refill heart containers as well. So lots going on with the Imprisoned, but behind him is the sort of static Tears of the Kingdom boss collection. Colgera, most of you will be familiar with. He's been at a lot of shows. We have Link coming in, who's now wearing his Hylian hood on a wing underneath the boss. You can also see these snowflakes, which will be the weak spots where you hit him. We've fully got the mandibles, which are detachable to make a fused weapon based on Tears of the Kingdom, and we have the removable Rito airship as well, which I can actually do the push action down on to make the springy things, as well as paddle all of the oars as well. Putting that back on the base, it creates a nice diorama, which is perfect for shows, but obviously not how the set models came. Then we have Queen Gibdo here in the front, obviously our second of the 5 bosses I'm going to showcase to you. She's a great one because she's of course got these wonderful large wings. Currently she's in our up position, and if I sort of angle these down like this, you can actually have her sort of wiggle her hands, and we can move the head around as well. But one of the things I included on this model, and ignore the fact the wings broke off, nothing goes right as shows, is you can actually re-angle this body and attach it here and clip it in so that she can be in her charge along the ground mode. So then she can sort of scuttle along, well, at least when she has both our wings, although it is another good opportunity to point out that this can be added to a minifigure as a weapon. Again, they were all designed to sort of be removable as they are in a game when you fight with the depths. We'll leave her like that for now. I'll come back to her. I'm ignoring the elephant in the room so that I can show you guys Marbled Goma, who again has the legs here, again the boss from the Fire Temple, and all 4 of these on the bottom here was removable. Let me go get someone very special. Here we have our speed sphere, and when I grab maybe a certain Goron, we can put them inside. This is the same piece that was used in Sonic. We just got to bend the arms up, flip him in the slot like this, and then pin it together. And now, if we had the launcher, you would be able to launch at Marbled Goma, and if I was less scared, it would be hard enough that you could knock the arms off and sort of crash her down to the ground so that you could get on top and do some damage, which is again part of that integrated feature that we showcased originally in the book. Just down here's Muk Rock as well, and then that brings us to Demon Dragon, which is our final boss for the showcase, technically. And this is of course why we had this. Now again, I'm not going to take it off the stand today because I'm a little bit scared to do it, but there are a couple of features that were included in this model. Firstly, it would have been one of the 8 collectible secret stones. You would have had to have bought all sets in order to get all of 8. And then here we have Demon King Dragon, and you can see it would have fit on his forehead, but also in this little storage space where I'm currently put the Blood Moon, which sort of looks like it's above him, but you would be able to put it in this slot around the back just to sort of hide it out of the way. Speaking of hiding things out of the way though, we've got the main body segments, and you can see on the box that we've got this hole here where you would be able to put the Ganondorf minifigure that would have come with the set as if he was going into his transformation. So you've got that storage spot to sort of replicate the game. Naturally, of course, the jaw moves, but also just under the neck here you can see this launcher feature. You would be able to shoot sort of balls of malice out there as well. And this model of the set would have originally come with a light dragon as well as this little display piece for you to put the figures on. And of course, the Demon Dragon itself is 56 centimeters long, which is actually quite big. You can see those minifigures at the top of the box there. And I said it is a complete box. We've got the lovely side art as well as the bottom here. I'm very excited about this, as you might be able to tell. Let's put it back though, because we've got to keep going and talk about the stand underneath here, which is the Great Sky Island, which is a sort of weird scale recreation. This is one of my favorite custom sets. I think it's one of your guys' favorite as well, because it has so many fun details from across the game series. With the Shrine of Resurrection down here, as well as a pond with the lily pads and some steps, then one of those lines that you can sort of walk across and go across to the main Temple of Time Island, which is actually in a sort of transitional scale, where it starts off at minifigure scale down here and then goes up to micro at the top with the lakes around here, which is actually an area you can get to. Now, the fun thing about this is that it just allows me to squeeze it into more of a space and create sort of a playable model that's a little bit different. And even around the back, we do also still have the shrine where you drop it, as well as this little spot where you can put figures on log, as well as have a little section here with your wings and so on. Then the last of the main bosses is the Siege construct here, which we are able to sort of rotate. Again, I've put them on stands for show, but originally these were mechs you could just sort of fight with. All the limbs lock off, you've got spots to attach them to, and even with Minoru here as well, you've got the head, as well as you can see our custom charge set link there as well, and you can move this head around as and when is needed. Let's go around the corner now, past Little Man, again probably one of his last shows, through the botanical collection, which is another aspect we really wanted to capture, because of course you've got the Lego focused stuff, but the adult focused stuff, and then the kid focused stuff as well. And these botanicals, which were collectible in games, specifically the Silent Princesses, made for a great addition to your botanical collection. And I have some great photos of this one actually in a collection that sort of really looks like it's a real flower as well, which is fantastic. And that moves us on to the big event. This is Lookout Landing and Secret Cave Discovery. These two were designed in tandem to be perfect playsets together. And from the same shape, you can tell that they are designed to sit on top of each other, like the 2012 Rancor Pit and Jabba's Palace. So let me show you the details underneath first before we start layering things up. Starting with Secret Cave Discovery, at the front we have a sort of a Horrible encampment, although today we're using a Cyclops just for general public. We've got a little bit of meat over here, we've got a treasure chest with some arrows in, and you can see Link is in here at the moment as well. This cave flows around to both sides, but let's say you wanted easier access, I can open it up straight away. In here is the emergency shelter, which I'm showing you now because it's going to be a little bit tricky later. You've got a cooking area over here with the pots, as well as sort of an armory area where Kosie's working away. The goddess statue in the middle, oops, see, we're knocking her off today, and then into the Zono research area with this bookshelf and all these diagrams, including a reference to our frocks, and then of course the little table where they're planning their invasion as well. If I close these back up, let's spin us around to show you the other caves. We have this area here. I'll come back and explain what this is later, but there's an annoying boulder feature where I can slam it and launch the boulders to sort of attack any unsuspecting minifigures. Further around, there's a storage space for the boulders, and then we come into the back room where the horn statue is under here, as well as a bright bloom seed and then a web with cobwebs. And then if I slam this out of the way, you can blow up the rocks in order to reveal a treasure chest, which has a Lionel horn and then some more gems in it as well. And again, accurate to the game. And there is that little tunnel that passed through as well. This area will make a lot more sense later because this is the well. You can see Farah down here with her Where Are the Wells diary, and there's a lot more water coming through, but I promise that will make sense in a second. And then we come into the last cave, which is the Like cave, fully posable and sort of attackable, and you can even put a minifigure in here to sort of have her swallowed up. It gets a little bit heavy, but I really like how that sort of fills up the space, and he's a really fun creature to have included as well. But now let's move over to Lookout Landing and talk about a couple of the details before I show you the big feature, which is connecting them together. Over here, we have the tower. I think it's best to start with the most important feature. And down at the bottom, I have our Link, and we're going to launch him into the sky using the tower. So first things first is, of course, to put him in there. Let's get him up there. And he goes. And then I've got to open the hatch. And then we're going to send him high sky fly. And let's see if we get this first try. Nice job, right? And up he went, flying up into the air and then soaring back down. So a really fun play feature to have included in this model as well. Naturally, this one does open as well. I'll show you that in a second. And of course, you've got all the accurate details, whether that be the stores and so on, up to the telescope at the top, which if I remove, I can show you the backside a little more easily, as well as Poyo's bedroom, which you can see here has a couple of sticker details as well as a nice big bed. And then down in here we have a prison cell. You never see inside this room in the game, but there's a missing wanted poster down here. And then through the jail cell, you might be able to see a familiar cartographer, which of course is Tinkle there, who is in skeleton form. I'll just take this one off as well because we've got the main research area. Someone's in here right now with the bargainer statue, as well as the mural to the central mines, a Puripad sticker, and then of course various different research things for Joshua, who is currently not included in the set. There's a little eating area over to the side as well, but I think I've put it off long enough, right? Are you guys ready to see something pretty incredible? First thing to do is there's always got to be a safety check. So I want to make sure that my front sections are nice and secure. And then, just like that, we are going to lift it up and put it on the model. Okay, and then I can give you a full 360 spin of the model raised up in the air. Now, we have a couple more details to take a look at, and I think the first and most important one, if I reach on over, is to pop the fronts. A couple of parts are always going to fall off. It is unfortunately inevitable, so let's just spin that out of the way. And now I can show you how you get into the secret cave, as just like in the game, if I slide this out, the platform is going to drop down, giving you direct access to the central room as well. Let me drag that out of there. You can see it's a little bit shady now. But let's say you wanted to get back up. If we come over to this cave over here, you can see, well, perhaps a minifigure that should be Link is going to be placed on this little contraption here. And then we are going to raise her up through, and oh, we've got a minifigure blocking, but pops up through the trapdoor as if you're ascending through the floor. Let's send her back down right now as well. And then of course there is the hole in the well, just like there is in game. Now to show you that, I'm going to have to prove that this function works. We're going to close back up the castle, or village I should say. And just bear with me, I'm doing this from behind, which is never the easiest thing. And then we're going to spin you back around to see this space under here, because this is where the well goes, and you can see, I think if I poke my finger through, or in fact, why not, let's drop a figure in. Who wants to come visit the well? We can drop a pura down into the well here, and then you can see that all of the details are connected. These models truly are designed together. I think it's a pretty impressive feat of engineering, and just to round it off, let's take it back off again, right? So as always, have to do a safety check. Looks like we're pretty good. So I'm going to lift it and put it down. And that is the end of the Octane Thermoplastic table at Reading Brick Fair 2026. Come and see us if you can in future, because there's always something going on. And thank you very much for watching.